But what we call too long, kyetuyita ekiwanvu ennyo, is so short compared to what we see. And that God has created other beings and has created the heavens and the earth, and everything between there is His, beneath the surface and up. Yet there are those that exalt themselves with arrogance, as if the Lord will not squeak them. Tajja kubanyweza bw'ati abanyole. And they think they are preferred to the Lord other than any other race. That is wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is opening up our parliament, but on a lesser thing. One other quote that I wanted to let you know: in this world we only live for a day, and we can't ask for more than what is beyond for the day. And the Lord shall judge us for the days and hours that we have lived. So ask yourself, if in the years of our Lord, one day is 1,000 years, how many hours according to the Lord have you lived, or will you live? So if you live for 80 years, have you lived for even 10 hours in the face of the Lord? Kyekimu kyennyini ky'olaba n'olaba akawuka kano kamunyeera, the small, dudu ant. Bwe kabeera ne banne waako ndowooza kagenda kabagamba mpangadde nnyo, but it can't take even 30 days. So nga ate nako Katonda ye yakateekerateekera ki kye kalya. And we still think we are much, much, much better by creating havoc. And you ask someone, okay, now you the one killing this one, how long will you last on earth? You the one imprisoning X, how long are you going to be on earth? How many plates of food do you eat? Power corrupts their minds, and they think everything is forever. But finally, even all those that are clapping for them are clapping for them because of opportunity, not because they love them. Not because they are with them. No, it's because they have access to opportunity. The moment it changes. That's why we tell people, how many true friends do you have? Many friends want you because of the opportunity they want to access from you. The moment it vanishes, you realize how many you have. It's beneficial. The same message I'm sending to the Arabs. There's no leeway out of this. You must go for diplomacy. I applaud the role of Oman in what it has done, and Qatar. Yes, we are sympathetic. You employ many of our people. But you cannot allow the American bases to be hosted there. Because bases don't mean airlines, aircrafts going off your bases. Radars, intelligence support, and everything being used to destroy universities next door. You must wake up and say, no, this is wrong. Whereas you condemn Iran's retaliatory strikes, rightly so, as sovereign nations, which is true, but you should also condemn bombing of universities and hospitals. Because if you do not, then Iran thinks you are accomplices to this game. And that's it. And the world will always sympathize with the weaker party. Because this was an unsolicited war. There was no imminent threat of attacking Saudi Arabia, attacking UAE, attacking Bahrain, attacking Kuwait, attacking Qatar. Now the entire global supply chain is disrupted. So all of you that still believe that this war is a bogus war, please write there the word stop this war. Just type the word stop this war. I'm going to call in many of you. Pamela is there, everyone is there. These are introductory remarks. So type the word stop this war. stop this war. Because this war will have a huge effect on us. We have people working in the Middle East. So for as long as the companies there are not working, those who work in hotels, those who work at the airport, who's going to pay them? If they are not paid, definitely they will not remit funds back home. So omuntu ali Uganda, if you're home and you think, it's normal, a disruption in the Middle East is a major disruption to the global economy. And we need sense to step in. We need sensible people to step in and tell the United States of America that the war you bankrolled is a bogus war. It is stupid, it's bogus, it's useless. It doesn't benefit anyone. It's costing the entire world. Listen, people in Philippines, were demonstrating yesterday because they did not have fuel. They are running out of fuel reserves. Planes have been grounded. So they are feeling the pain that the Cubans are feeling. But this also goes to the Filipinos. What you feel is what the Cubans are feeling, and worse, much worse, because they have been under this blockade for the last 30 days. So when there is a global bully in the world, the ripple factors go to everyone. So our brothers in the Philippines, we are exactly sorry for what is going on. But you must realize that the world now is like a human body. When there is less supply of blood or oxygen to the brain, everything, slows down. I saw Americans demonstrating yesterday in numbers, in their thousands. Respect. I think wars should stop. Let me tell you one thing about war. The companies that manufacture weapons finance propaganda against countries. Let's look back. Every 7 years, there is a war. So what we call the military industrial complex all over the world that is making these air shows and everything must sell their weapons. The only way they are selling their weapons is by stretching wars all over the world, creating a new arms race. Now every country will start rearming itself in order not to fall victim of what is going to happen, which means it's a profitability game. Go to politicians, create scare and fear in them, talk them into budgeting. So you'll have more classified budgets going to the militaries. In the name, we need air defenses, we need more tanks, we need more this. So you deny your people food and basic infrastructure and buy rockets, weapons, surface-to-air missiles, defense systems, etc. So you must realize that war is for profit for these companies. So you go and look at the people that have invested money in these military complexes. Thank you, Dr. Vikram. This is a spiral. So it is two-way. These companies are buying media companies. The media companies are raising people's ambitions and creating warmongering and fear, scaremongering. No, they are going to bomb us. This is going to happen. It's going to happen. So as people consume less and less information, as we restrict ourselves to what we must hear, an arms race is brewing. Spending and alliances, alliances and alliances. So they scrap history lessons so that you don't learn about the causes of World War II. Why did we have a global war at that scale? What was its effect? Desire for subjugation, superiority, military complexes. That is one of the reasons they rule out issue of propaganda and military complexes. So military industrial complexes are an issue of profitability. Rule number one, you don't ask and question military spending, because they will tell you this tank cost us $5 million. It is one of the biggest routes of corruption. Please do not worry about others. Just type, just tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen. And the reason is very simple. Not that I want this information to stop in Uganda. I want this information to go out. I'm telling you 3 things so that you learn them. Those that wish to learn, fine. Those that wish to stay adamant and arrogant, fine. All governments run what we call a military classified expenditure. Now, this is audited in the darkness. And the reason for this, they create warmongering and scaremongering against their public so that they can attract more funds that they can use without accountability. So, at the end of the day, this is what you get. 1, they tell you there is an imminent war, there is an imminent threat, they rearm, and after 5 years, they tell you that those arms are no longer useful, we need new arms. Thank you, Murunji. Thank you, Murunji Tahia. Thank you very much. So, the issue is armament and rearmament at the expense of the taxpayers. So, people are pushed to pay more taxes, denied the basic public infrastructure as military industrial complexes grow. So, when they grow, it's politicians that normally hold their shares, these shares in industrial military complexes. They become richer at the expense of exporting fee amongst the public. Therefore, what happens to we politicians? What do they pitch for us? Listen, let's tell them this, invest in these stocks and you'll make much more money. So, after that, wars break out. When wars break out, more money for expenditure, more money in intelligence, more money in weapon manufacture. What does it lead to? Destruction of what we call civilian infrastructure. Bridges are hit, airports are hit, railway lines are hit. I want you to go systematically. Power lines are hit, electric power dams, or what we call energy facilities and energy production centers and key energy lines. Go and quote my word properly. The same companies and investors in the military industrial complexes are the same investors in the media, and they are same investors in construction companies that do reconstruction. Why is it that 70% of the modern wars have happened where there are natural resources? The reason is it's 4-way. Create propaganda, manufacture weapons, bomb them, destroy this, and use the weakened puppet governments that you've put in to give you all their mineral resources, and you continue controlling them. Now, this was the new replacement of colonialism. Because these dominant colonial governments and supremacists are now producing nothing. And I want to be clear, 30% of the world's production energy is in China. And China didn't colonize anyone. Now they fear that they are producing nothing. They are running to 2 things. 1, intellectual property. Intellectual property is where you devise means of industrial innovations and design. What we call innovation. But then they control the media. I'll give you an example. If you want your song to be popular and you play it in Africa and it's not played in the biggest market in the world, no advertiser will loop onto your song. So they go on what we call technology infrastructure control. They control the infrastructure. Let me give you an example. On your phone, you're either on Android or on Apple. Now, Apple platform is controlled in the Silicon Valley. For everything you put there will be monitored. You cannot get your app hosted when it's neither on Android or Apple. So they create what we call the global standards for everything to run. Will you have internet without their say? It will be very difficult. Will you have a search engine? That's why you even say Google it. Google is a search engine like many other search engines. Yahoo had started that way, but it collapsed because it did not go on. Will you have an email without them hosting you? So they run the infrastructure. In so doing, they take all the data. That is why today, what is the world's gold? The world's gold is not gold itself, it's data. And if you ask an ordinary African or an ordinary person, what is data? Data is what I say, is the video I record, is how I look, is how I move, is how I eat, is how I sleep, is how I think, and to whom I relate with. That is why, in order to control the world, you must control two things: what they think, how they are, and how they are is their health. So health-wise, what do you do? If you feel there is a school of thought, and I'm not sure about it, that one population cycle is threatening to grow and outnumber you, we have to be so careful about the medication that we take. Because there is a lot of research going around through wrong medication in particular areas. But I will not talk about that today. I'll be talking about that in my next podcast to warn the people that, listen, when you get this from the shelves and it has this, it is dangerous. Do you realize the rising numbers of cancer in our communities? Do you think it's by mistake? Do you realize the rising number of cardiac arrests among our people that are dying unnaturally, seated somewhere, and they tell you they couldn't breathe? The food that we are consuming, the medication that we are having, and then you hear that countries are being given just $1 billion in form of aid to sign away the medical data of all their people, to another country. The United States, Uganda signed. My old man, Mzee Kasaija, I have to just sympathize with him. I have a lot of respect for him. There's no way you can insult him, but maybe he doesn't know. He didn't know what he was signing. That all his medical records now are in the hands of the American researchers. They know what is the most possible disease that he can have. That is why governments are strict on accessing even fecal materials of their leaders, because you know what disease that affects them, and you can compromise them, and you can know what vaccine to send to them. And people don't know that there is medical warfare that is going on, competition for pharmaceutical production. So, those of you who want to follow up, yes, now I can see people coming up, Honorable, that is true, Honorable, that is true. Yeah, those that think that what we are discussing here is true and right, please write the word Honorable. Just write the word yes. Until Africans understand that there is no free lunch on the table. There is nothing free. There is no free lunch. When they are giving you aid, they expect data from you. It should pay more than $50 billion. You've given it out at $1 billion and laugh. They are ignorant. By the way, that is how we sold our people in slavery. One of them I started with sent me a message and said, I've never seen people as foolish. He has a PhD in artificial intelligence. He said, oh my God, Africans are stupid. We are not stupid, I would like to say. But we are just ignorant. Our leaders are ignorant. They don't know. When you hear that in the UAE, there is a minister in charge of AI, you must understand that this is the new frontier. And you have people like Dr. Groive Rahman, a Ugandan in the UK, one of the first ones to have a PhD in artificial intelligence. And I was looking at his publication. This is a young man. Give me a second, guys. Okay, this is one of the young men in Africa that have a PhD. He's one of the people that are inspired to do a PhD. He recognizes me in his book, in artificial intelligence, and this is what he says. Citizen science through the lens of AI and serious addictions. Dr. Groive Rahman, Abdurrahman Groive. Of course, he gives special thanks to me, his grandparents, Haji Kasim Boyondo, Haji Seruo, Uncle Mohammed Nsereko, especially for having told him to do AI. He does not regret now. But what can I tell you? This is someone now, government, as far as China and everywhere, are trying to pay just $10 million as sign-on fee to have him. And he's saying, my mother government does not think that I even have value to help him, to help them. He talks of the following. Have you realized that there is something addictive about betting and gambling? Do really Africans know that all these addictions are automated behind the game? That you cannot defeat what we call these machines behind the betting spree? But do you know how much money that betting companies are making from Africa? He says, is there anything you can give someone other than wisdom? Is there anything a parent can leave behind for their children other than knowledge? Why is it that today Iran is fighting resiliently? It invested in two things. One, spiritual coherence. Two, science and technology. And three, their people are very much in sports. Listen, a country that has been sanctioned for all those years and has the biggest metro in the Middle East should be a shame on all those countries and aristocracies that are in the Middle East with nothing. Just imagine if Iran didn't have sanctions. It's offering more scholarships in science and technology for children from Africa. Over 15,000 children studying free in Iran. Electronic engineering, science, neuroscientists, immunology, etc. The same as Cuba. So we have to understand that unless we train our children to learn and study, omuntu atasomesebwa agenda kuba mubi nnyo kuba tamanyi. ate tamanyi nti tamanyi. Welcome, Iteken. Thank you. They don't know that they don't know. So, all of you that think that at least this time we are running on the right direction, and I'm going to open up for questions and contributions. I want to do it in English for today, I told you, so that there is a clear understanding by everyone. But if you come and you want to speak in Luganda, it's fine, where you feel comfortable, or in any other language, even in Swahili. It's very, very much fine, because we need to hear from one another within their comfort zones. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be speaking in English, but it is what it is. It's a global language of communication, and I want to be as clear as possible. So when you hear the war and they are bombing universities of science and technology, and then they tell you they are exporting democracy, you have to think twice. It's not an exportation of democracy. It's a fear of a rising power in science and technology. And they tell you they have killed over 300 scientists, but Iran has more than 500,000 scientists at PhD level. And those with masters are over 10 million scientists. Wow. So, the people from the black race and Africans, until you remember that there's an issue of subjugation, and that there are those that feel they are superior and you have to work for them or to be beneath their feet, then you will not understand. That is why I detest and I reject the notion that a European, a white man will come and save me. Save me from what? Nonsense. Impossible. They are just there for permanent interests. That's it. That's it. They have no issue with me. How I govern with them is not an issue, for as long as I can give them all my minerals. For as long as I can do the slave work or be a mercenary. But let me make this clear. No one speaks for and on behalf of Ugandans, not even myself. All opinions expressed by Ugandans as regards the war between Iran and the United States and Israel are individual opinions. It's what we feel as individuals. I don't say this on behalf of my electorate in Kampala Central, and neither do I say this for and on behalf of Ugandans. But I know there are those Ugandans that agree with me that Ugandans will never be used as mercenaries to fight for other countries. So if any other country takes itself into a voluntary war, rest assured, no single Ugandan will shed their blood to come and be your mercenary, at least not me. And all those Ugandans here, and Africans that are here, that share the same notion that we shall not be mercenaries of other countries during their defeats, please type the word yes. Type the word yes. Type the word yes. Thank you. We can never be used as mercenaries. So whosoever touted that word that Ugandans can be mercenaries of other countries in their own wars is sharing their own individual opinion, and therefore they are accountable for their own opinion. Thank you, thank you. Gupta says yes, Walipa says yes, and I'll call out name by name. Shout out to everyone that yes, Rumala says yes, Rab says yes. You know, we cannot be used as mercenaries. So, all those that also think that the world needs peace and this war needs to end, I'm going to call out for another question and another answer. All those on my platform that think that peace should endure in the world, type the word peace. Or you can say we want peace. We want peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace, 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 peace. Thank you. Those that can flash this finger for peace. Wow, hold on. That's amazing. We want peace with our neighbors, with everyone. We have no problems with the Kenyans, neither do we have with Tanzanians. And we don't have any problem with Iran or a problem with Israel. Ugandans are peaceful people. You're Israeli, you live here, we don't care. You're Iranian, you live here, we don't care. We don't pick sides. We don't pick sides. Most of us. That is why the voice of reason should come out to know that the world is tired of bullies and tired of these bogus wars and conflicts. And that Africans will not just be bundled as mercenaries, to be used either as assassins or as weapon carriers, whatever it is. Because when it comes to asking for jobs, they are the ones that shall be given jobs of picking up fruits in farms and washing utensils in restaurants. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We shan't. We shall only respond when we are attacked. Uganda is not attacked. No one is attacking us. So for as long as no one is attacking us, why should we even bother other people? Okay, I'll call in other people to say something. I can see Yugaman. Yugaman, how is Dubai? I'm going to call one by one. Yugaman, yes, Yugaman.
Yes, Honorable. How are you today?
Good. Dubai area.
Dubai is fair. Dubai is fair. There's quite very, very calm environment for some days now. And
Yeah.
yeah, of course, business is a little, calm because of the situation that has been going on, but everything is moving on normal. People are moving out. It's unfortunately what the world is fed on in media is not actually what's going on here. So it's totally different when you're in here and you read reports that are, kind of scaring people and creating all this tension, and it's not the reality in here. So it's quite calm. It's quite calm.
So you're saying, unfortunately, what we see in the media is not what is true. How come the airlines are not moving? There are no flights between Entebbe and.
They all get protected equally. So this country takes protecting people as a major priority. So they will take precautionary measures, even when it rains. I can tell you for days here, a few people have not gone to work, not because they can't go, but because it is not very safe sometimes when it is raining and there is water on the road, and people have to be prevented from going into some of these disasters. So it's a precautionary measure, just like any other society that really cares about its people, how you would advise people and how probably you would want to protect businesses, because it wouldn't make any logical sense to risk a business that is having people's lives, but at the same time, you don't want investors in that business to lose money. So you put precautionary lines that kind of protect the people that are in those, those circles.
So you want to qualify the point that no one is attacking civilian areas in Dubai. So it's the media that is sending wrong information. So actually, there is proper precaution of this war, or that also the government of the UAE is performing beyond, is doing very well to protect its citizens. Are you saying that what we are reading here, that the state broadcaster of Iran says it has hit aluminium factories in Bahrain, Alba, and also in UAE, the global aluminium EGA has been hit. So are you saying this has not happened?
What I can say is a lot of those reports are not even verified. A lot of them, but probably
No, but this is by
yeah,
Al
but
Jazeera. Not by
yes, but I'm not qualified to actually comment on some of those issues. But what I can say is that there is a lot of biased information out there. That's what I can tell you.
okay.
In fact, this is a very, very good situation that the world should realize.
So those that are there saying the air defenses are working very well.
Yeah, I was coming to you.
You're hearing nothing.
So what happens is this: the attacks are there. Yes, of course, the UAE has been attacked the most in this war. It's received the highest number of missiles. It's received the highest number of drone attacks, but it has actually had the least that have caused impact on ground. And why? Because they are trying their best, and this is a very, very costly venture, I must say, because even people, because we hear the sounds, the same way people watch fireworks in the sky, this is how we hear the sounds when these drones and missiles are intercepted. And you can imagine that kind of tension that comes in people's hearts when the sounds go off. But the reason those sounds go off is because the air system is actually intercepting some of those. And of course, there are a few issues where falling debris has caused a little bit of damage in some areas, which is unavoidable. But you would imagine what would happen if those missiles were not intercepted or anything. So, what I want to tell people is this. What I want to tell people, Honorable, is this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who actually come on social media and say, when you hear, you're not allowed to say anything. No. When you hear, you're just allowed to say the right information, because the right information is available, just to avoid speculating, so you put other people's lives at risk and other people's businesses.
You're supposed to say the right information from verified sources. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And that should never stop anyone from actually reading and getting the right information, because there is this fear. You see, as residents here, people have created that fear that, oh, you can't say anything, you can't be able to go on social media and post good messages, you can't be able to say anything. That's not the case. The case is, do not actually risk other people's lives. Do not share fake information. Do not share misguided information just because you're looking for comments, you're looking for likes, and you're looking for attention. That's all it takes. So people should cut this fear of thinking that people are not allowed to say anything. You are actually allowed to pass on proper information once that information is verified. And that's what I wanted to say. Maybe the last point I wanted to make, Honorable, is as Africa, we should actually get rid of acceptance for mediocrity. And I think this is one of the challenges that we face as a continent and as a country and as individuals, because right now I look at Africa as one block. Unfortunately, when we are back in Africa, we look at our individual countries as very powerful pieces of, blocks that we think can actually end up dominating. Yeah. The thing is,
actually very.
Yeah, we are very small, because if we are going to play big, we must have strategic leadership. Honorable, everything falls back on leadership. If you don't have strategic leaders, you're never going to have a country that has a long-term plan. Everyone that we have in Africa is looking at what they can do, and once they leave, they don't care about what happens next. This is the same reason people say Africa is cursed, and we can't remove that doubt, because everybody that gets an opportunity to be in a spotlight that can change the continent, they end up falling for these guys that have used us for a very long time. Imagine, there are politicians in Africa who still walk to the US to say, we want US to come and solve our problems. We are supposed to be in partnership. We're supposed to do business with them. We are supposed to look for opportunities with them. We should not be looking to them to come and take our part of solving our problems. And for me, that is the challenge I have. So mediocrity is doing a bigger part in making us.
Yes. Mediocre zibakutama.
No. Because look at it, Honorable. You have an MP who cannot even read a budget. How do we survive in such a scenario? You have an MP who does not even know how many hospitals and schools they have as a district. How do we survive? Because when is this person going to think about forestation? When are they going to think about the green environment? When are they going to think about clean energy? When are they going to think about cyber education? When are they going to think about a laptop? They don't know. And all they think is you must praise this political kind of thing and you are in parliament. And that's the trouble that we have. But the biggest hope I know that we have, every time I watch you come on these live shows, it gives me a lot of hope. And you can ask me why. Because once you have leaders that decide to open the boundaries of communication, to raise awareness, to inform the masses of what we must know, not what we wish to know or what we want to know, but what we must know that is very important for us. You start to cultivate a very strong root of making the future bright. It's no longer about you. You as Honorable Nsereko, tomorrow you may not be in Uganda. Are gonna carry this message to the next generation. And I think this is what this country needs. This is what Africa needs, to stop this endorsement of keeping your books in your shelves and telling the world we read. We, the people making policies, we read. You now open it up to say, Yugaman, come tell people what we should be doing. Come tell someone what they are learning. Because on top of that, you have traveled, you've connected Ugandans, you've moved. I can tell you, Honorable, I am in the UAE. People are so proud of people like you who actually go out of your comfortable zone to say, let me tell people what they must listen to, not what they want to hear, not what is so comfortable for you to say to them, but what we must know as responsible citizens. And for me, that is what keeps me hopeful. Anything else?
Someone is honorable, you're treating ignorance.
Yes. And lastly, as people come on here to discuss, Honorable, let me be very candid with you. I was one of the people that was very much affected when you left Parliament. And I remember, actually, I almost, I felt like, I should never listen to Honorable again. But when I had a conversation with you and you actually told me the world does not stop at politics and changing community does not mean you only have to be in Parliament, that took so long to sink into my head. But right now I think about it. I am actually thinking how much impact you're going to have when you have the time to visit people on their farms, when you have time to show people how to use their land, when you have time to talk to investors who can come to Kampala and you move with them to the areas where they can invest. I can imagine that would not be possible if you're seated in Parliament, seated with people who can't read newspapers. And you also there because as an MP, you're supposed to attend the sessions, but you're seated with people playing cards on iPads. And I can imagine that time is now going to be saved for the common Ugandan who is going to benefit. And in fact, I must say I am sorry for having insisted that you go back to Parliament. I now understand why you moving out of Parliament is even going to create much more space for us to learn, for us to understand, and to even connect us to the global world. Thank you, Honorable.
Alan agambye mu Luganda. Don't worry, Alan mu Luganda kankuvunulira. Omukulu agambye nti embeera zaffe nga tukulaakulana tuteeka yanyiiga nnyo nga nkyusizza ekifo. Naye namugamba nti listen, we must find a way okola ebintu ebirala. Our impact will be felt as well even when we are not here. So I've tried to tell the same to people, but going through this, Yugama, Pamela, you mute. going through this, I'm looking at my nephew writing his thesis in his PhD artificial intelligence. Agamba what? AI techniques applied in citizen science. 1. Clustering algorithms means clustering algorithms means density-based models. Analyzation of national survey data to inform rural poverty and alleviation strategies. Omwana ono bannange ayina watuuse wano n'agamba nti random forest for astronomical image processing eyamba ki detecting and validating astronomical objects in space telescope images nekijjamu ki it speeds up astronomical data analysis and validation. Potential biases mu algorithm nazo weeziri naye n'akulaga nti ensi weegenda okugenda egenda kulwanira mu space. Kitegeeza enakkirira wansi n'agamba ensi yonna enaaba terina satellite. Ompulira nga temanyi balina zi-interpreting, temanyi bakasuka bizungirizi, temanyi babitambuza na kubipatnaringa, ejja kuba insecure from word go. That is one. It is a recipe to insecurity. But it also tells you to train such people does not take time. It only takes 1 year. It doesn't mean someone must go to university. You've heard the people in Britain saying, no, black people should go, immigrants should go, Muslims should go. Politics of identity, not ideology. Why? When they realized that they were riding off free things from their colonies, and now it's long gone. People have started their manufacturing industries. Uganda, which will ordinarily import cars, like the Land Rover, is now trying to make its cars from Chira Motors. What does that mean? Land Rover must close its workshops because there is no demand. No one wants them anymore. China is producing cars. Vietnam is producing cars. So what does Britain have to offer? It can only offer the Premier League, financial services and banking services. What we call and why banking services is because it's also a tool of colonialism. The use of the sanction system, electronic economy, because the only way America controls the whole world is letting your money go through America first, by using the dollar as the medium of exchange and using what we call the SWIFT system. So the moment I sit here in Uganda and I now say I can settle with someone from China by getting my Ugandan shilling without first converting it into the dollar to create what they call currency, depreciation. Because the moment I put it on a Visa card, it's first converted through Visa or MasterCard into the United States dollar on a platform on that switch. Then they offer me a service for this financial transfer. So if I'm sending $1 million shillings, I have to lose another $1 for this person settling this financial payment. But if I can exchange this money directly with the Kenyan, by beating this system, by trading directly with these Congolese, but I have to wait for the man from Congo to give me the US dollar. When it's just, I'm giving him a chitenge, and he's giving me cocoa in return. So this is economic imperialism. Who is breaking away from that? The real battle is that the Iranians have said to go through the Strait of Hormuz, we don't want dollars. No. Go and bring the Chinese yuan. So the moment they say 20% of the world's global oil is now going to be controlled by the yuan, India will be forced to go and bring the yuan in order to go through, breaking the dominance. When you break that backbone, the game is over. So it's not Iran alone fighting for its survival. It is America fighting for the survival of the petrodollar. Are we together, my brother? Yugaman, do you know why America concentrates in the Middle East? Because over 65%, we can say 60% or 50% of the world's global oil comes from the Middle East. Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain. So tell me other oil exporting countries. Libya, Angola. Now Namibia is also coming up. But Angola basically, Libya, Nigeria. So you heard that Trump wanted to send American bombers to save the Christians in Nigeria. My friend, Nigerians, unless your minds are being corrupted, it's not about Nigerian Christians and Muslims fighting. They have lived together all along. But the moment you discovered new oil fields and rare earth minerals, they knocked on the door. Now it is important to save the Christians in Nigeria. Why not those ones in Palestine or in Jerusalem or in the West Bank, who are protecting the churches in Bethlehem? There are also Christians in Lebanon. Have you forgotten that fact? Why would they be so sympathetic to Christians in Nigeria? Do you think the satellites cannot spot where Boko Haram is? What if they just did intelligence sharing and they said Boko Haram is at this spot, and the Nigerians sent a suicide drone and it cleared all of them? Mali, Burkina Faso. So look at all the oil belts, because this is the oil and gold belt flowing. Sudan. Did anyone care about the Sudanese? Are they aware that people of South Sudan are under sanctions and their oil is sanctioned? And that the black race in Darfur is being cleansed, ethnic cleansing? Does that come to you? But they are very much interested in Somalia, having discovered one of the biggest deposits of oil in Somalia and the military base near the Eden. Red Sea. Don't you people now realize how God created that Middle East and what is there? He gave them a desert. He didn't give them everything. Why? They were extremely arrogant. These people were racist. They have always been non-believers. I want to repeat these statements so that you know them. These statements are in the Quran. Who are the worst of hypocrites in the world? The Quran says the Arabs of the desert are the worst of hypocrites. Yugaman, did you know that? He has no problem to laugh with you when you're dying in the next minute. For money, they can do anything. Why did the holy books all come in this area? These are the most arrogant people. Most of the prophets came in for the Israelites, and the Arabs. The reason is these people were very, 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 very bold-hearted. They would reject everything. They were shrouded with pride. Both the Bible and the Quran talk about this, that they would not accept. Just imagine if this Quran had come down in let's say, Igbo or Yoruba. You think those Arabs would have accepted to recite that Quran in Yoruba? God knew all his creations. But it is Allah who has said that punishments will befall those that know more. Because they know this is their language. They hear it. But yet they thrive in rejection. That God reached an extent of sending food, manna was salwa from heaven, and said, let my Israelites eat this food. They want to go to farms and dig. And they told him, this diet is not good. Give us more food. Change for us. Tomorrow we want chicken. So, trickery, they play victim. And why I'm telling you, Persians have been extremely intelligent people since time immemorial. Resilient and intelligent. Iranians are Persians. Extremely intelligent and patient. People were confusing them to say these are Arabs. No. Most of our Arab friends, some are Muslims, others are Christians, others are pagans. Racism is built in their hearts. They say when they go there is racism against them. But I want them to understand this, and I say it because we know them anyway. Basosola Mawanga, huge racists. They think they are superior. They only bend and kiss the feet of white people because probably they think they will be whiter than them, to an extent that they just want to worship them. Not that they love them, but out of fear that they could distract their lavish lives. And they have gone. Bal tu'thiruna al-hayata dunya wal akhiratu khairu wa abqa. The worldly life has consumed them because they want to appease people. Their forefathers that stood for charity has been abandoned, and now they are on opulence and luxury. For them, what is more important? Are you wearing Gucci? Wallahi, I'm wearing Gucci. They live competitive life. Wallahi, this watch is Gucci, and I will be in Munich tomorrow. Muhammad, you wanna find me in Munich tomorrow? Munich. You gaman musajja watu. Aduze tainaga mutikencha. Negative abatatya ubibagamba. This is the truth. Kulul haq walau kana murra. They will understand. They know, they are laughing because they know what I say. The way they mistreat maids in their homes, kadamas, they make them wash everything. Inhumane. They must change. We don't just become Muslim brothers because we pray together. No. In Islam, we are taught to be good to everyone, whether Muslim, Christian, or Jew. Good is good. Kindness is kindness. Slavery is rejected. Racism is haram. Because before God, none of us is special. We are all the same. We are all the same. We are all the same. That is it. We can't fear to call it out. Not at all. Were there black people in the Middle East? Yes. Time immemorial. Because this was not there. There was the Red Sea. They would just cross from Abyssinia, which is Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Somalia. So they were there. They were there in Israel. present-day Israel, which was created in 1947. They were there in Arabia, in the Arabian Peninsula. I mean, Port Sudan is just across. But the issue that there is this dominance, this mind, that you subjugate others, that's why you're being treated in the same way. And then when racism is cast towards them, then they start crying foul. You're being racist to me. Aren't you racist to others? When you go to India and people are divided into classes and castes, that a dark-skinned Indian is looked at as an outcast. This hypocrisy in the world must stop. We are all one, created from the image of God. There is no one in a better image. The nation that some white supremacists go out and say that their DNA shows that they are more intelligent than the black race, and that is what you're building alongside, is a falsehood. It's something meant to nurse their ego. But even for us, the people in the black race, we must wake up. Stop going to those people and telling them all your problems. They think you're stupid. They think you're stupid. Sit down and solve your problems in your own way. You'll be much more respected. We must not live as beggars that seek help. If that is the help you want, Iran has gotten the same help. Their kids have been bombed, schools have been bombed, universities have been bombed. Now what are they gaining? They sponsor bogus demonstrations amongst you. In return, they bomb you. In return, you're left with nothing. You lose lives. You become refugees. Where you go to their countries to seek refuge, they repatriate you. They discriminate you. Why? Because they think you can't solve anything. What don't we have? We have all the minerals. We have the human resource. If we have bad leaders, let's correct it ourselves. Every tribe wants to be dominant. Tribe. Oyazeyadde muganda wange naye abo bakatoliki stupid. If he's a Catholic, what's wrong? If you're a Muslim, what's wrong? I mean, I had one extremist friend of mine who was condemning the other. Budala, kale nogulawo butcher y'ennyama kumbi ne baala. That you've opened up a butchery selling beef near a bar. Then this guy came to me and he was saying the other guy was condemning him. And the other guy was a taxi driver. But his taxi was driving people at night and in the morning. Some of them who are either Abasamize, others were coming from the same bar and nightclub. Then when he told it to him, he said, Nze nvuga buvuzi taxi. Nona atunda butunzi nyama. Obutakozesa amagezi ago. Kwegamba yoli bw'aba akola kiri, ye mubi nnyo. Bw'akola kino nti gwe toli mubi. Learn to coexist, tolerance. If God had wanted all of us to be the same, we would have been the same. That's why he divided us into races, tribes, religions, gave us different languages for all of us to appreciate one another. That's why there are different colors. In order to have beauty, you can't have blue. You have to have a class so that you have diversity. When you have diversity, yes, omulalo muziro kobo, omulalo muziro gwanjima. I don't care whether the pilot flying me in a plane yeddira njima oba teyeddira. I just want to arrive safely. Politics of identity versus politics of ideology. So, for those that are recording our lecture today and want to carve out clips, 2 things right there: politics of ideology versus politics of identity. Ideology versus identity. Identity is one tells you we are the chosen race. Fair, we are Jews, we are Jews, we are Jews. So what? There are others that are not. So you think we have to bend and kiss your feet because you're that? Because we are Muslims, we are special. You're not special. You're also just a creation of Allah. Because someone is a Christian, there's nothing special about you. You're all humanity. When you fall sick, you need a doctor. Worship what you want, let the other worship what they want. The world is a world of choice. If someone chooses to put a veil on their head, what makes you lose sleep in America because a woman is putting on a veil in Iran? Yours is free to walk naked, fine, to walk in a bikini and walk into office. Why are you worried? Why do you think that you have the arrogance to go and tell people that you should not wear a veil? Because you think you're superior. And for you, you say this is Western values. Yes, if Western values say it is fine to walk naked into an office, walk naked. Has this person imposed their veil on you? If there is a beach in Germany where you go naked, from father to son to grandfather and child, fine. It is in your country. Why do you lose sleep when others say you have to wear in a modest manner and come to school? If you think Kawempe Muslim Secondary School, if you think Kawempe Muslim Secondary School is being harsh by saying, do this, you'll be funny.
Tata.
Nze sijana akakukuumula nyindo. I can't lose sleep because waumudde nyindo.
Mpola tata.
Yenga sikulaba olabika onaawo.
Kalagaleko video. Obazinzi
kulaba.
Mu bantu abali knowledgeable. Bemmanyi mu bulamu bw'ensi eno Allah wali batanatwala. Ndigamba abaana bange nti once existed a man called Muhammad Nsereko. Who was much more knowledgeable. Waji.
Naye omanyi nti oli musika wa shaitani ku nsi.
Gezaako obugeza negasiwe kiri. Allah kyantaddeko ekisakye.
Why would I lose sleep? Because you have oina pini mu nnyindo yo. Ennyindo yange.
Pini kireke, lwaki otangirako pini? Waliwo ebyokulabira pini taata mu nsi eno. Pini yange kireke.
Nokazika akale kandeeta ebyokulabirako ebyo. Wenywera bbiyawo.
Nedda era
olimpiirwa ki agenda mu lubuto lwange.
Nikupa ebizi baakulimba. Munnange bagezaako okukukyala. Nika pepsi taata.